So let's look at the scenario. So we're looking at the cut cross pass, throws on the bottom, whereby we're looking the underhook. But I mean, Tyrone not an idiot. He's gonna know that every time I win that underhook on that same side. So we'll just recap on this. So again, we're not going past the toe line. I use the slap and catch and make that grip. Again, I don't want him getting me in the reverse Danagher, so I'm making a slight angle, hip and lever principle, get to there, and then I make this pinning. I want to get my knee to the mat. So we've looked at how I can win this underhook, and from that position my head will be going into the throat, and then from there I possibly get elbow control, and then I start to bring my head over my hand, putting pressure on him, kicking through, and then into my cut cross pass. But I mean, he's going to know anytime I win that underhook, he's in trouble. So he's going to be keeping his left elbow really tight to his body. So I don't pass the toe line, I do the slap and catch, I make that grip, I cut a slight angle, and I'm here. Now as I start to enter with the knee, Tyrone's keeping his arm really tight to his body, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm not going to get this. So we need other options. So from here, he can't stop both. If I don't get the underhook, I can grip the lapel. So now I'm coming forward. Now I have to be careful. This is the battle of the knee shield. You know, there's a lot more space here than when I win that underhook, and I don't want Tyrone getting that knee shield in. That's a battle we don't want. So the second I make this grip and I get my knee to the ground, I'm also going to find this sleeve control. I'd be going for that straight away if I have the lapel grip. So now I just get my knee to the mat. Now, if I stay upright like this, basically Tyrone is probably going to get his knee in, and then that's a battle that I don't want. So the detail is, this hand that's on the shoulder is going to push on the shoulder. This finds the sleeve and pulls up, and I basically put my hip on Tyrone's. So he tries to bring his knee shield in, it's very difficult. And now from there, as I sit through, my elbow is coming to the outside. If he's putting me in quarter guard, I just kick through. And now from that position, I win the crossface. If he tries to hip away, my elbow just follows him. So that's just kind of corralling and monitoring the hip. So let's look at that again. So the thing we want to be thinking about when I make the collar grip instead of the underhook is basically this knee shield. That's going to cause us a lot of problems. So as long as I'm aware of it, we should be okay. I don't go past the toe line, step one. I use the slap and catch. Again, I'm aware of the reverse Danagher, so I'll cut a slight angle and put my hand on the hip. Now as I project my weight forward and I'm trying to get this knee to the mat, Tyrone's staying super tight. If he's staying super tight, there's nothing to stop me lifting my hand and making this. And then I make the connection. If he's silly enough to keep his hand in there, that's cool. Alright, I'll keep it in, it doesn't matter. So I make that connection. So I'm filling this, but I'm not staying upright. What I'm going to do is I find the sleeve. I'm going to pull up on the sleeve and push down the shoulder and put my hips out on Tyrone's hip. Try to bring your knee shield in. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to put a knee shield in. If you think about it, for Tyrone to bring a knee shield in, he has to physically turn onto his side, which is kind of difficult when I'm controlling one shoulder and I'm keeping him flat on his back. Because basically you're pinning one shoulder and lifting the other one. Hard to get a knee shield in there. So there used to be a guy years ago, Margarita, Wacky's friend. This would have been one of his signature passes. It used to be called the Margarita pass. So I don't go past the toe line. I slap, I catch, I cut at an angle, and I'm here. I start to bring my knee in, but I can see I'm not going to get that or underhook because Tyrone's keeping that tight. So I would just take it across and grab it and just start to make a connection. If he keeps his arm on the inside, that's good for you. You know, I can use that. So now I find this. I start to push and punch and turn my hip. Alright, and now as I sit through, as I lift that shoulder, this elbow sliding down to monitor that hip. If he's still keep holding on to my leg, I'll kick either top or bottom leg over, start to win the cross face, move into side control, wherever he goes. I can follow. Better get another angle on that. possibly from this side, so you can see what I'm doing with the outside elbow. Just turn around a bit. Obviously, we looked at last time, sit up guard, whereby how I level changed and tried to get his hands, and then he made that grip, and then I found this, and then I stepped in. I can go straight into that pass without even, getting the position. So again, as I come over, I'm finding this, a push and a punch, and I turn to the hip. The turn of the hip's everything. Then this elbow, what's what I do with this elbow? It's actually coming down and monitoring that hip. I'm hugging this hip. If he's still hanging on to my leg, I just kick through. Head control. Bring my knee into the near side hip. Do your stuff, bro. Wherever he moves, I just follow him. Let's look at this scenario where the arm's still trapped. How we can take advantage of that. So we just go from this position. Perfect. So I don't go past the toe line. I use the slap and catch. I cut a slight angle and I get to here. And my goal is to start controlling the near side hip with my knee. Tyrone's keeping super tucked, so I'm going to come across and I make my connection. Now if I do this right, his arm is trapped. And now from this position I find the sleeve. And now I use my push and my punch and I turn my hip and I'm down. When I move into side control, anytime I move into side control and I've got this pin, try to free your arm, bro. No. And now from this position, all he has is one hand. It's actually a battle, alright? Who can get their hand under the collar first? So from here, I'm just opening, sliding this through and making a connection. Find the bottom collar, and now I'm straight into my baseball bat choke. Especially when he only has one hand, but if he's foolish enough to keep his hands in there, well, he deserves to get choked out. So, that's just another variation of our cut cross pass, but we'll keep looking at other things we can do from that position as well.